I'm Alan Weiss, and this is The Writing on the Wall. Welcome back to Writing on the Wall. This episode is called Shoes On. TSA has decided, apparently, as I'm recording this at least, that you don't have to take your shoes off anymore when you're going through security lines at airports. Now, if you were in pre-check or perhaps clear, you didn't have to either, but the great mass of humanity had to. And this was because the justification was that there was a nutcase who was a shoe bomber, we called him, on one airplane who tried to set off an explosive in his shoe and was not, of course, successful. If you recall, not long after that, there was another nutcase who tried to set off a bomb in his underpants. Also not successful. We're not talking about rocket science. However, TSA never, ever included the rule that you had to reveal your underpants for inspection. And so they were kind of, I don't know, biased about this, and it shows that they are flexible. But the overall position of TSA is that you're guilty until proved innocent. Doesn't really mesh with the Constitution, but there you have it. Now, I'll give you some frightening statistics here, and these are all true. Based on the number of weapons found by TSA in carry-on baggage, CBS Television has done a study, no doubt using algorithms, that suggests that 70% of handguns were missed and were carried on airplanes. ABC did its own investigation, and it concluded that 80% of handguns got through that were in carry-on. Here's the kicker. Forbes actually did an undercover test. Can you imagine? With handguns and suitcases, and only 30% were found, 70% went through. Now, how accurate is this? You know, Marshall McLuhan, I think, said the price of eternal vigilance is indifference. That's why they change these screeners so often at the monitors, because after a while you just get so bored it's hard to see things. Now, when you come into the US, through Global Entry, for example, you can use your fingerprint and a retinal scan, and you go right through. You get your ticket, and you go right through, and you don't even have to stop at an officer. I first learned of this a couple of years ago when I first went to Dubai, when I was embarrassed by how well their system worked. Gates opened automatically. You didn't really have to see an officer at all. Even getting a visa could be done automatically. I will say this, and what I'm about to tell you is absolutely true. They do a scan of checked luggage when you pick it up and you're walking out of the airport with some kind of technology, and if they find anything they feel is banned, including any kind of sexual device, they stop the person, search their luggage, and confiscate this stuff. Nobody's allowed to have fun in Dubai. You've all been subject, probably at one time or another, to these pat-downs, right? And these searches with the wands and everything else. My wife has 2 artificial knees and 2 artificial hips. I have rebuilt her from the ground up. I'm very proud of this. She has to alert people about this in TSA, because if you go through the normal little cage thing, it'll sound, and so you have to say I have metal, and so they put you in something different, which is some kind of circular gizmo that accommodates this. However, for some reason, in the TSA brilliance in doing these things, when you have some kind of artificial transplant, some joint, and this machine shows it, the majority of the time they check you for bomb residue, and they put a swab on your hands or on other belongings you have. And apparently they've made some connection between people getting artificial hips or knees and more likely to be working on a bomb. I don't know how that works, but there you go. You've seen how security checks work at other places. Getting into a Broadway show, getting into an athletic event, getting into some kind of concert. You know, somebody says to women, open your pocketbook, they put a little pen light in there, take a look, and off you go. Hardly conclusive. Now I am going to conclude with the story of why I drink Jameson Scotch today. I drink other Scotch, I love Macallan, but Jameson is my everyday Scotch, and I'll tell you why. I was leaving London and I was going through Heathrow. I had stayed in Knightsbridge, which is a very elite area, and I stayed at a top hotel. This is important later. When I go through security in Heathrow, some alarm goes off, some red light goes on, I don't know what. And so they took my carry-on and they put it through a second time. It failed a second time. So they open it up and they're taking swabs and tests and putting in the machines. And next thing I know, they call a constable who introduces himself, very polite man. I'm Constable so-and-so, and you failed 3 tests. And we have to call in the security people. I said, what did I fail? He said, well, I can't discuss that, but you know, we're going to keep your passport, and I need to take some information. So he gets out an assignment book, like we had in grammar school, one of these things. He starts taking notes. So 2 security guys show up, plain clothes. They open their assignment books and ask me the exact same questions. They get together with the supervisor of the security area, which they've now shut down this line, and the 4 of them have concluded something, and the constable says to me, we have to call in the dogs. I said, what dogs? He said, the bomb-sniffing dogs. He said, I'm sure it'll be fine. And so in about 10 minutes, a handler shows up with 2 Cocker Spaniels, a black one and a brown and white one. I said, they're Cocker Spaniels. They're your security? He said, they're very good bomb dogs. And so the handler keeps the black dog, unleashes the brown and white one, and tells it to go, and the thing goes around the security area with my luggage in there, sniffing like a crazy dog. And it comes out, I don't know if they had a discussion with the dog or what, but something about the dog's behavior said I was okay. They said, you're free to go, we're sorry for the trouble. I said to the constable, as I was watching, you know, time tick down to my flight, can I take a selfie with you? This is going to be a good story. So you're not allowed to take pictures of security people. So I said, well, can I take a picture of the dogs? And the handler said, you can't take pictures of the dogs. I said, are you serious? She said, I'm just having fun with you, sir. I said, oh, this has been a lot of fun. So the picture of the dogs I have in my collection. And once they gave me all my belongings, where you get out on the right is the old Concorde Club from when I used to fly the Concorde. It's now the British First Air Club or something. First class club. I walked in there, sat at the bar. The bartender said, can I help you? I looked up. The first thing I saw was Jameson's. I said, give me a double. That's why I drink Jameson's today, folks. And I'm not sure it was worth it.